Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
All right, phone.
Your Honor, I think we're caught up on everyone that is present. And then Mr. Wright, I believe, for the 10:30 calendar infractions is here.
All right.
So I will
give
up my spot here.
And Mr. Wright, why don't you come on up and we can talk about your matter. Hi, sir. So this is all about that ticket you got, allegation, you can have a seat, of improper lane usage from April 11th.
Yes.
And you've asked for something called a contested hearing, which is like a little mini trial. What happens is I would look at the police report. If it's signed under penalty of perjury, I'd consider what they say in there. I'd put you under oath. I'd hear from you. And so the issue is I have to look at the law. Are the facts there or not there to show that you violated the law? And so if they are, then I assess that $200 and some fine. If they're not, then it's found not committed and you don't know anything. You also have other options, and I always want you to know what those are before we get going. We can do everything today, but I just want you to be fully informed. So you have a great looking driving record. That allows me to do something, grant a deferral, which would allow me to dismiss this actually in 6 months. If you didn't have any other tickets over 6 months, it's a $150 fee paid. And if you need time to pay that, we certainly do that. No finding that you did anything wrong. It's just open for 6 months and then dismissed without you coming back to court. That's one option. Sometimes people ask for contested hearings when what they really mean, and you may not mean this, but maybe you do. I always just like to preface it that way, is that actually, yeah, I did it, but can you just reduce that fine? That would then stay on your record, but 99.9% of the time I can reduce fines. So there's a couple of options there. Do you have any questions about the deferral or what we're doing today we're not going to get into the facts yet, but just what you want to do today?
I have a couple of evidence things that I would like to show, and because I don't think I actually did the infraction.
Okay, so you don't want the deferral, you want a contested hearing. All right, let me go look and see, unless we've got the city prosecutor here. Let's see if it's already been provided.
Should have been filed with the court, Your Honor, and I also emailed it to Mr. Wright this morning.
Oh, great. Okay. Did you get something from the city of Lacey today?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And what I've got here is entitled, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. It's called first one has just so I know that we're both looking at the same thing. Why is it taking a while? It's a photograph. And then called an, God, this is slow, supplemental police traffic collision report. And that's a couple, 3 pages. And then I have 2 pages of narrative written by, okay, this is Officer Sandhu. And let's see what else I got. And of course, the citation, which is the thing that has your name and identifying information, and it says what they cited you for. That's in 2 pages. It's electronic. All right, so let me review this, and then I'll turn to you first. All right.
And just for the court's information, on page 3, the last paragraph is where the officer starts describing his interaction with Mr. Wright.
Okay, so page 3 of the narrative, or page 3 of the collision report? Probably the narrative. I have 2 pages of narrative. I can just read through it.
Okay. Just trying to here. I'll let the court find it. I think maybe what I'm looking might be in a different order than what the court has.
College Street, April 11th, about 10:45 in the morning. 4661-140. So that's what I'm looking at, is 4661-140. It's what governs all of this. So let me get a gander at this. So what you're saying is the first paragraphs are all about the other collision, not related to this case. So we get down to, all right. All right, so this is a civil case. I can't consider hearsay. I don't have any other driver's statement under oath. The officer didn't watch this happen. So the only thing I can consider here is your statements. And so that is page 2 of the narrative, or page 1 of the narrative. I'm looking at, took photos and then talked with you. And that goes from, well, it's on the bottom of it says page 3 of 6. So we'll say page 3 of 6 to page 4 of 6. And so I can consider the things you said. I can't consider anything else, even the axon, even the video from the officer, not his conclusions. Let me look at that again. Trying to figure out which, so the intercity transit.
I would argue the court can consider what the officer observed in the video.
It can, yeah, what they observed, but it shows not conclusions though. And so the video, yeah, it's just a little puzzling at first as to what it applies, which it applies to. So I can't consider any of the conclusions without some further information from the officer about training experience. I don't have that anywhere. So it's limited what I can consider here. And so I'm excising out things that don't apply to this situation and excising out things that by law I'm not allowed to consider hearsay. And so let me just kind of narrow in on that again. It's a little bit of a jumbled report, but I think I'm getting it. Looking back to the picture here, which, do we know where this picture came from, Ms. Eddy?
No, Your Honor, I wouldn't ask the court to consider that.
Okay, yeah. Right. So, all right, so what I'm seeing here is your statements in that report, Mr. Wright, and then what the officer saw on this rear view video from IT, it looks like, and saying that your vehicle appears in view and is halfway into the left-hand southbound lane, appears to have the left turn signal activated, and then the other vehicle appears in view, showing driving southbound in the left-hand southbound lane. And within a second of your vehicle appearing, the video shows the driver's side of the towed trailer connecting with the passenger side of the other driver's front bumper. And then the van goes towards the rear of the bus. Okay. All right, so let me put you under oath, Mr. Wright, and have you stand up with me and raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. All right, why don't you have a seat and tell me your side of this.
So heading southbound on College Street, I saw an accident on Lacey Boulevard. So I proceeded to check my mirror and to change lanes to avoid the accident on the other side. And as I got over, and I told the officer felt like I was about 90% in before the accident happened. And then as I got over, all of a sudden the trailer's going sideways.
Your trailer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I put my blinker on. I checked my mirror. There was no white. It's an express van, pretty large van. He was not in my mirror anywhere to see. And so I got over. I also pulled the video. And I watched the video and I sent it to my insurance. I have a letter from the insurance that they've deemed the other driver at fault.
I can't consider
objection to that, Your Honor.
You know, it's hearsay and their conclusions, and I don't have them,
And then
we
I
can't
have-
test them. But keep going.
I have a couple of stills from the video that shows that he's pointed towards my trailer as he's coming out of the turn lane because his tires are coming over the dotted line of the turn lane. So you got two turn lanes, left lane, right lane. So his angle is like this as it hits my trailer.
Okay.
And then he bounces off the trailer and hits the bus.
So their pictures, why don't you show that to Ms. Eddy and then I'll get them too, so I can see.
This is the one where it's at an angle. You can see his back tires on the double dotted line, which this is the turn lane. And this one, you can see that this is the dotted line for the center, in between the two lanes where I am more than 50% in the lane before the collision happens. That's just the other stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And I have
Okay.
the video on my
Let me have
phone
a-
as well.
Well, let me have a look-see at this. And then we can, all right, you can tell me what you're looking
And
at.
I don't object to you looking at the two photos, but I do object to the
Oh.
other papers he's got in his hands.
The
there,
two,
so.
oh, yeah. Here we go. So
So-
one photo. So Ms. Eddie knows what we're looking at here.
So you have the dotted lines that separate the two lanes. The tires here, that's more than 50%.
That's you.
Yes.
And this is,
This is the Chevy Silverado that was also involved in the incident. He grazed the front of his vehicle and then hit the back of the bus here.
okay, so this hit the bus.
No.
No.
So this is the van right here. You can see his tire.
Okay. So this is you. There's a van here.
Yep.
And this is a different collision.
Yes.
Not involved with you.
Well,
But this is what you were trying to avoid.
This van grazed this gentleman and then he hit the bus.
All right.
So in the next photo, you can see the actual
All
van.
right.
So he hit the trailer, he's angled towards my trailer, and his tires here are coming across this double dotted line,
Okay, and that's your truck, your trailer, and this is the
which
other
tells me he
vehicle.
was pulling from the turn lane.
Okay. All right. Anything for me to consider with these two, Ms. Eddie? Nope. You can have a seat. Let me. What you're saying. There they are. So you're saying, if I remember right, then you were, as you said earlier, 90% into your lane.
Mhm.
And that's what seems to be what the officer remembers you saying too. Let's see, where was that? Okay, so you're saying that you were about 90% finished with your change of lane.
Yep.
When your trailer starts moving.
Yeah.
And you determined that it was because you were hit rather than you hit. All right. Anything else?
I mean, other than I have the video on my phone, but I don't know.
Yeah, but the drag of that is that I'd have to take your phone into custody as evidence, and I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to do that.
It's just
Needed
my
it
life,
supplied. Yeah, it's just, your phone, your whole life. So I think your descriptions in these stills, Ms. Eddie, anything or any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay, any argument of any nature?
Just briefly, Your Honor, the burden on the city is by a preponderance of evidence. And the RCW 4661-140 says clearly a vehicle shall be driven as nearly as practical entirely within a single lane and shall not be moved until the driver has first ascertained that such movement can be made with safety. And I think it's apparent from the affidavit that that was not the case. And that I believe the officer says the footage shows that the bus footage shows that Craig was driving along Wright's trailer moments before the impact occurred. And so I'd submit to the court that it was not a safe lane change because the other car was clearly in that lane. I understand the defendant said he checked his mirrors and said he couldn't see it, but all cars have blind spots, and it seemed like this might be the case in this case. So I'd ask the court to find the infraction committed.
Anything else for me to consider or your point of view?
I guess I don't understand how you can determine it's an improper lane use. Yes, an accident occurred, but if I'm all the way in the lane, I can't see him because he's coming from a different lane. He wasn't in the lane next to me. There's no blind spots down the side when you're pulling that trailer. The blind spot is behind you. So I drive that thing every day for the last 5 years and I've never had an incident like this. So yeah, I very clearly checked and put my blinker on and felt it was safe to merge over. And then I feel like he was coming out of the turn lane and that's why I couldn't see him because he wasn't next to me. He was a lane over.
Well, and that's exactly it. I find that you didn't commit a violation of 4661-140. It says that exactly that. We all have to drive nearly as practicable entirely within a single lane and don't move from that lane until you've first ascertained that such movement can be made with safety. So the officer's report, your statements here all coincide that say you were pretty much in that lane, almost finished with that. There was a collision. I'm not making a fault determination. Insurance and everybody else does that. I'm just saying, is there evidence sufficient to say that you violated the statute? And I don't find that, given what you've told me, that the officer was able to divine after the fact and the photos. So that's it. So you don't owe a fine. We'll tell DOL you didn't commit this violation, and that's it for today.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so long.
Craig steered his van and trailer right into the lane. The city of Lacey tried bringing the pain. Eddie claimed the lane change was not safely done, but Craig showed the photos to prove he had won. He was 90% over before the big hit. The judge said not guilty and chose to acquit. He fought for his record and walked away free. So always bring evidence for the judge to see.